We have some time left, and I'm going to see, does anybody have a question at all on step 4? Okay, good. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with some other steps. Once again, I'm not telling you what to do. For me, I will not allow him to schedule a 5th step until he's finished 4. I'm not going to let you bash yourself into finishing your 4th step because you got your 5th step scheduled with me. We're not going to do it that way. Continue to work in the 30-minute, 45-minute periods. And those are all negotiable. All negotiable. Your wife's going to take the kids and go home to see her parents for the weekend, and you want to spend 4 or 5 hours in each step 4? Fantastic. Fantastic. Or you got piled on, you can't do it all this week? Great. It's all negotiable. I want him to go to a lot of meetings. So if he's a real rookie, I want him in 7 meetings a week. And I had a guy years ago, he said, I can't do 7 meetings a week. I said, okay, why? He said, well, my family, we go to church on Sunday and we spend the whole day kind of in church and when church activities. And I said, does church feed your spirit? And he said, yeah. I said, I'll take 6 AA meetings in one church. He said, I sing in the choir. We have choir practice on Wednesday nights, and I work all day Wednesday. And I said, does choir practice feed your spirit? And he said, sure, it does. I said, great. I'll take 5 AA meetings, choir practice in the church. My job is to get him pointed toward God. That's the only question. Is what we're talking about here doing that, or is it not? It's a pretty simple test. Step 5, to me, is not an oral 4-step. If you're going to read your 4-step, read it into the tape recorder. I'll play it on the plane. That's not how I understand this part of the mission. There's some fairly interesting things. As we know, there are no rules in AA. The first one's mentioned here on page 74. The first paragraph at the bottom of the page begins with the word notwithstanding. You count up 3 lines. It says, the rule is we must be hard on ourselves as always considerate of others. So here we are in step 5. That has to do with who hears your 5th step. And I think it carries very nicely over into step 9. I got to be hard on myself and very considerate of them. To me, yeah, I see a one sentence here on all this reading that to me carries the first half of the 5th step. It says on page 7, we pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating. That means to shine light onto or into. Illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. It's a confession. It's that simple. He's finished his 4th step. We're going to schedule some time. We're going to be at a place where we will not be interrupted. The phones are not present. We got tissues, we got paper, we got bathroom facilities. I'm going to ask him, and he's going to bring his 4th step in his big book, and I'm going to ask him to do some prayer and invite God into this process, and I'm going to do the same. I am in that prayer myself. I'm going to ask God to make me perfect. This is page 13 in the text, where Bill first lays out the steps in narrative form. The 3rd paragraph, never was I to pray for myself, except as my request borne my usefulness to others, that only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. I ask God to make me perfect for this time here with you. Not for me. Get me out of the way. Make me an open channel of whatever you got here. And that's what I do. And I tell him I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask God to make me perfect as I sit with your 5th step. And I also promise God I'm going to trust what I get, which feels like guidance. I said, I've wrapped them in blankets and held them while they cried. I've had some very unusual experiences, and I just trust what I get. I believe when 2 of us are sitting there in God's name trying to do what we think he wants us to do, he will be present. And I, as a sponsor, will be made perfect to know what to do for him. It happens. And you can bet it. And when we both finished our prayers, I say to him, I want you to tell me now the single worst thing you ever did. Oh, and before that, I say, are you nervous? If this is first 5th step, if he's not nervous, we are wasting our time. Because he has already decided what he is not going to tell me. And I had, years ago, I had a fellow I was sponsoring who had his first sponsee ready to do his 5th step. And I told him to do that. He called me later that day and he said, you won't believe it. I said to the guy, are you nervous? And he said, no. And I said to him, then you already know what you're not going to tell me. He said the guy disintegrated before his eyes. Told him to dump the whole bucket, snot slinging, bawling. He said that 5th step was over in about 3 minutes. He said they went on for several hours, but he said it was over. And I have yet to have one that wasn't nervous on their first one. After that, probably not. But on his very first fifth step, I want him nervous. If he's nervous, he's either decided to tell me or he's not sure. I'll take either one of those. I'll get it. And so I ask him, I say, you tell me now the single worst thing you ever did. See, we can be forever, go for days about stealing the penny candy when you were 6 years old on the way to the big one. We knock the big ones out first. We ain't going to be here very long. I want the worst thing you ever did first. And he tells me, and then I tell him when I did that. And the chances are extremely good that I have done whatever that is that he did. Then I say, what's the second worst thing you've ever done? And then I tell him when I did that. I don't think I've ever gotten through the first two that I hadn't done at least one of them. And we do that until he just can't think of one. And then I let him review his four-step and see if he can find anything else. This is a confession. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. This is a confession, and I want to hear it. I don't want you to read it to me. I want you to tell me about it. When he has finished, I tell him that I forgive him, and that I believe God forgives him, and that by the time we finish the ninth step, I believe he will have forgiven himself. And then I read him the fifth step promises, which I assume you know they're here in the middle of page 75. And then I give him the instructions for the second half of step 5. Returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we've done. If he does not have a place he can go, then I'll leave him wherever we are. I need an hour. He has a watch, carefully reviewing. If he's going to go home, I want him to go home in a quiet automobile. Don't turn your cell phone on. Don't turn the radio on. Don't even listen to one of my CDs. All right, I want you to stay in fifth step here. And it says, we thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know him better. If you've ever done a fifth step, you'll know what that means. If you haven't, you don't yet. But there is a closeness that comes when your sponsor does not run screaming out of the room, who says, yeah, I did that, and worse. And so in my lineage, we not hear fifth steps, we exchange them. And some phenomenal gifts have come out of that. I'm hoping to get to one of those here a little bit later. Taking our book down from the shelf. Okay, you're going to have to go home and put your book up on a shelf. It's going to have to be shoulder higher or higher to take it down from the shelf. It's what it says. It's what you're going to do. I'm going to ask, so do it. Turn to the page that contains the 12 steps. And then metaphorically, using masonry, it says, have you been thorough? It asks that 4 or 5 different ways. And then strangely enough, the top of the next page, if we can answer our satisfaction that we've been thorough. And I tell them too, right at half of the time over the next 48 hours, someone who's been as thorough as they could be will think of something else. I see a lot of people nod, about half. So if you think of something else, call me when you can talk. Won't matter if I can or not. Happens about half the time. Will not mean you've done a poor job. Will not mean that at all. This will mean you've done a great job. You got a call me. It's not a problem. If we can answer our satisfaction, this is on step 6. We then look at step 6. Emphasize willingness as being indispensable. Are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things we admit are objectionable? Can he take them all, every one? If we cling to something, we will not let go. We ask God to help us be willing. There's a 6th step prayer. It's one of our best kept secrets right there. If you're not really ready after all of that, we got a prayer for you. And it says when ready, we say something like this. My Creator, I'm now willing you should have all of me, good and bad. Pray that you now remove from me every single defective character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. I'd like to observe something. In the short form of the step, it looks like I'm asking God to take all my character defects. In the prayer, I'm not. It's just the ones that stand in the way of my usefulness. And this is a gift from my fourth sponsor, a guy named Mike. Beautiful guy. One of the most spiritual men I'll ever know, I guess. And he step 6 and 7 don't say anything at all about Scott working on his defects of character. I was working on my defects of character when he caught me doing it, and I was going to get a brain hernia any minute. I mean, I was going to be cross-eyed forever. It was just tearing me up. And I've got 3 of them that I today refer to as my spiritual barometers. And they are lying, well, improving upon the truth, really. Lying, right, swearing, and my attitude toward those of you who got your driver's licenses out of Cracker Jacks boxes. All right, And if one of those gets out of the box, if I'll look, they're all out. They travel together. And those are the ones I was working on when Mikey caught me. And what I've discovered is that when my spiritual life's in good shape, those things do not appear. And so I don't work on my character defects. If I hear me screaming at you in traffic, I got to look over the last few days. What's my spiritual program look like? Am I reading spiritual literature? What's my meeting count? When's the last time I talked to my spiritual advisor and or sponsor? How about that? What's my sponsorship look like? What's my prayer life look like? Meditation is the one I usually let go of. Meditation works so well for me that I stopped doing it. And that made sense to you. You followed that, didn't you? Yes, these are my people. Yeah. And so wherever the hole is, I go back and fill that hole. And 2 days, 3 days later, you can cut me off in traffic and almost hit me. And I'll smile at you from inside. I mean, the smile will be genuine. And I'll wave at you, and I'll wave my entire hand, wave the whole thing. And I say, God, thank you so much that I thought he might cut me off. I was on the brake then. And I wasn't in a wreck that would have been his fault, but I would have been in a wreck. And God bless that child. Looks like he's having a hard day. I do things like that. Go bless that child, Father. Looks like he's having a tough day. And I cannot change me from the screaming maniac 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I can't change me. But I go back and fill those spiritual holes, and I am changed. What Mike said is that all of my character defects are self-centered by definition. And self can't push self out of the center. If it could, it would leave a vacuum. So the answer to my character defects is not for me to work on them. The darkness can't exist in the light. I'm not to focus on the darkness. My job is to invite the light in. And the light comes and the darkness flees, for it cannot exist in the light. Whew. Yeah, and I can't write stuff like that. That's from this beautiful guy that sponsored me for a number of years. Invite the light in. What's my spiritual program look like in the last couple of days? There's always a hole. If I'm swearing, lying, or mad at you in traffic, there's always a hole. There's always a hole. Don't you hate it when your sponsor's right? I know it. Yeah. I'm gonna talk just for a couple of minutes about my experience with steps 8. So, according to the way I understand this book, steps 5, 6, and 7 are all taken the same day. So step 8 is a list of the people you've harmed. You can take it, a lot of it comes out of step 4. On the step 5 thing too, the book suggests that you can do a step 5 with just about anybody, and the guys I sponsor can, anybody they want to, and me, for 2 reasons. One is someone who's been there needs to be there. The other reason is that I'm going to hear things in his 5th step that he's not going to hear. And we're going to get to step 8, and I'm going to see things that need to be on that list that he isn't going to see. And that doesn't always happen. It happens frequently. So I think it's important that I hear his 5th step. It's also important that he hears mine. I had an experience years ago. I'm going to talk about this piece now. Don't hear anything political in what I'm about to say. There's nothing in there. I'm just sharing my experience. If you've done what I'm about to talk about and you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. That's not what I'm here about. But I'm going to talk about how I got free from the thing that ate my soul the hardest. As a young man, I paid for an abortion. And I drank that away. That made me crazy so many times. And I get to step 8, and I owe amends to an unborn child. This is page 83. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter. I was shown how to write that letter, and I brought it, by the way. I've had the experience of working with an awful lot of people on this through the years. I've been public with what y'all are hearing all over the country, literally, actually all over the world. And I've talked to a lot of people. I've dealt with a lot of people. And whether it's an unborn child, a grandparent, somebody who's gone to the other side, we can show you how to make that amend. We can absolutely show you how to make that amend. And I see some people I used to sponsor nodding because they know, because it absolutely works. As the 4th step, in my experience, is not about writing, although there's writing involved. It is the observations and prayers that are life-changing. My experience with this letter to someone who's already gone to the other side is not about writing. It is about tears. I've worked with a lot of people, and if you can't cry, there's a pretty good chance you won't get free writing this letter. And so I put how I was taught to cry on the other side of this. And I don't know, I've got enough to go around, but Darren's got one of these, and I'm going to make sure James has got one. I'm sure he's got the technology to email that to you if somebody needs it. I've got a few copies here. I had no idea this many people would show up. And anyway, but do you notice that I got free? You notice I'm talking about that like I've talked about everything else? That's what we mean by new freedom. It's a phenomenal experience to go through this process and to embrace the great truth that I just don't have the power to make a mistake so ugly that God can't turn it into something magnificent. Chance is pretty good in a room this size, just about a lock, that God has used the 2 or 3 worst things I have ever done as tools to help other people in this room today. Powerful God, powerful program, neat stuff, new freedom. So we need his list. That's the next thing. So we're doing this 5th step today. We're doing his list tomorrow. I want a list of everybody. And if you can't tell me how you hurt them, don't put their name down. All right, we're not here to thrash you. Let's get a list of these people that you've harmed. And then let's go over them one at a time and talk about what that amend looks like. I think it's really important. This is just how I approach this. I'm not telling you what to do. I guess I've said that enough. Amends is not a lecture course. When I go to make amends, if I talk long enough, I'll throw in an excuse for me and take all the power away. Do not mess up an amend with an excuse. And I don't let the men I sponsor use the word sorry. We wore that out. Nobody believes sorry anymore, nor should they. I was wrong. I harmed you. Much better than sorry. And it's short. And I tell the men I sponsor, if you take the 4th breath while you're making amends, you've already said too much. Do not take the 4th breath. That's enough. Your mother does not need to hear your fifth step. I wasn't as good a son to you as I could have been. I know I broke your heart. I'm living a new life now. And I'd like to repair some of the damage that I've done. Can you tell me how? Phew. That's plenty. She doesn't need to hear all that stuff again about what you did. And I would tell you, too, with the men that I sponsor, I'm not asking them to turn their will and lives over to the care of somebody who may be in love with hating them. That person is not final authority on what the amend is. The sponsor and sponsee prayerfully together are. We need to hear what they think, but they are not final authority. If you'd gone to Big Ken the day before he got sober to make amends, he would have bashed you for the rest of your life. Yeah. So that's not what that package is about. Let's hear what it is. If it's a financial amend, my rule of thumb is take 10%. You owe the guy $1,000, you go to him with 100. If you're absolutely certain you can pay him 100 a month, promise him 50. Under promise, over deliver. New concept for us. Yeah, that sounded backwards, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, right. I'll wait, Darren. Write that one down. Yeah. And so let's talk about them one at a time. And some of them need to wait. I mean, you just got divorced. Well, your former wife's mother, let's give her some time. Maybe that'll wait. You need to make and here's another one. And if someone has something better than this, I'm so open to hear it. For a guy to approach a lady whose charms he availed himself of lately, how are you going to go make amends to her without making her feel cheap? This is the best I can do with that one right now. Item 1, I'm going to have a woman from my home group contact her. We don't need her husband to say, who was that guy on the phone? All right, so I'm going to have one of the ladies from my home group contact her and use my name. He would like to make amends to you. Are you willing to hear them? If so, can he meet with you? Would you prefer it be on the phone? You want a letter? How would you like to have it? And let's get that information before we go any further. And then I think the amend sounds like this. I wasn't as good a friend to you as I could have been. I think I've done some damage. I'm living a different life now, and I'd like to make amends. Can you tell me how? That's plenty. That's plenty. I had an experience years ago, a friend of mine, a business associate who, from Bowling Green, I've known him in my industry for years, and he said, I've seen the changes in your life through these 12 steps. Can I do the 12 steps? I'm not an alcoholic. And I said, no, you're not. You don't have the gift. I've been watching you for years. I'd have seen it by now. And I said, but having me as a close friend qualifies you for Al-Anon. If you'll go to a couple online meetings a week and drink no booze and smoke no dope, you don't drink champagne at your daughter's wedding while we're in this process. I want you fully present. I'll take you through the 12 steps. And I said I had permission. And he went to make the amend like I just told you and discovered a daughter and 2 grandchildren he didn't know about. And today they're a family. Yeah, that was one of the wows. And there are some that you just know can't be made. They're just literally not possible. Don't you believe it? Don't you believe it? I had this one. I think he was in the 3rd grade, and on the schoolyard one autumn afternoon, he grabs the kid's hat. Nobody saw it happen. It's just gone. When nobody's looking, he flings it up in the tree. Well, some of these trees around here don't lose their leaves. Hat disappeared into the tree. Never was found. Kids from a poor family goes through that winter without a hat. And here we are 50 years later. That school is no longer there. He doesn't even know that kid's first name, much less his last name. Clearly no way to make amends, right? Don't you believe it? And we sit prayerfully. And today all the kids at the orphanage have a Tennessee Titans stocking cap, and my sponsee got free. Don't you believe it? I have the privilege of sponsoring a guy in the Ukraine who sponsors guys all over the Soviet Union. And they don't have the wealth of experience that we do. At my beloved back room last Sunday, I think there were over 30 people with over 20 years in there. Is that about right, Mark? Something in that neighborhood. There was a bunch of them. They don't have that many in his country of 52 million people. They don't have the experience laying around in every corner that we do. And I get a call from him that I sponsor a guy that sponsors a guy that sponsors a guy in Siberia that fill in the blank. What's the amend? And my answer is always, the sponsor and sponsee need to sit prayerfully multiple times, and a way will be shown. And if they can do that 3-4 times and nothing comes, call me back. He don't call. He does not call. A way will be shown. I sincerely believe that when one of us commits to making those amends, God will rearrange the entire universe to make that possible. The only thing necessary is our willingness for it to happen.